Okay.
What's going on?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So thanks for joining us today. We're doing our second live stream for the Bhangra Clinic. So if you missed the first one, it's on our YouTube page. So just check it out. We've got some great talent joining us today. That's part of the Bhangra industry. And I would like to hand over to them so that they can introduce themselves. Cabs, I think we'll start with you since you're the only male on the call with us today.
Cool. I'm honored that you picked me out of all the guys that do Bhangra. So honestly, thank you. And so my name's Kabeer. I don't know. I've been dancing for the last 15 years. We started up VanCity Bhangra in 2012. And then we did a few competitions. I mean, just not really sure what was happening. We were just going with what we were enjoying as a team, as kind of friends and stuff. So, and then that eventually made us start an academy. So we started an academy in 2016. And we started teaching kids, adults, all that stuff, all that good stuff. And then it was a really big goal of mine to start a girls team because we had a guys team for so long. And I just knew that I feel like it was more of like a challenge / kind of like thing I really wanted to do in Bhangra, because our guys team was really managed as like a cohesive kind of group. But I wanted to take this as a project on myself. So we started a girls team right when we started the academy, and had a lot of success, which was awesome. And it's probably my most favorite thing to do about Bhangra is coach that girls team. So everything aside, like even competitive Bhangra, I'm kind of like not so into it anymore. But coaching a girls team is probably one of my most favorite things to do. Yeah. Other than that, outside of Bhangra, I know it may seem like I don't have a life outside of Bhangra, but I do. I'm studying to become a high school teacher. So I was in school when this whole pandemic happened, and now I'm online. So I'm just studying online, and hopefully get my certification by the end of this year, and then I'll have a nice career. And then I feel like Bhangra will kind of just keep going with it, if you kind of got that fallback.
Definitely, yeah. And you've been doing Bhangra 15 years and you're not even 30 yet. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, getting there though. but it's crazy that there's so many people who have been dancing even longer. I don't know. Like, I feel, yeah.
Thanks for that, Cab. Navneet, I'm going to hand over to you. So if you want to introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Navneet. I am based out of Washington, D.C. And I guess my official team is DCBC, DC Bhangra Crew, which is the all-women's team based in our area. Been dancing competitively since 2012, 8 years, but been dancing in Punjabi school, culture programs, all that stuff, my whole life since I was a little kid. Other things that I've been involved with, Rani Ronak, which is the first all-women's competition, was a huge part of that. I served as a judging and registration chair, and then also just was a part of the founding team that came up with the idea. I've kind of put it all together. So I've been involved there. And then in the last few years, I've dabbled in some other teams. I've danced with KPGD, did a little teaching at a couple academies. And yeah, I judged a little bit too. So I feel like I've done a little bit of everything. So really excited to be here. Yeah.
Thank you. And Juhee, I'll hand over to you.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm Juhee, I'm from London, and I also have been dancing pretty much all my life as well, but I didn't start off with Bhangra. I started off with sort of other dance forms. I actually was born in Scotland, so actually there was not a lot of Indian culture there. And my mum put me in ballet school for the first 12 years of my life, which I'm really grateful for because it was an amazing sort of dance form to learn and grow up with. And then I kind of did Bollywood at home, of course, like everyone else, with the Bollywood movies always on in your TV. So dancing with a little chunni in front of my TV all the time. So all of that kind of just developed alongside. But with Bhangra, I started again when I was in uni, and that was in 2012 as well. And I started off with St George's, which is a medical school in London. And it just really grew from there. I didn't really think I would do past 1 or 2 comps, but I somehow, like pretty much everyone here, I guess, you just get sucked in, don't you? So I just carried on, have still been carrying on, be part of lots of teams. And I'm currently just teaching classes at the moment and doing it mainly for fun, because I've done my 10, 11 competitions and I'm sort of like, that's it for now. But with Unseen Arts of Bhangra, we just do public classes and just try to spread the culture around London and beyond. Yeah.
I think everyone says that I'm done for now, but then when the next one comes along, it's like, oh, I want to get back in there.
There's always 3 retirements, right?
Yeah. So just so I'll hand over to you.
Okay. Well, I'm a retired dancer, and I did retire before, and I came back. Just like you said, it just sucks you back in. Just you want to do one more competition. But I've been involved in Bhangra for over 10 years, and I was a captain of ABA Bhangra. I even coached ABA Bhangra for a bit as well, and I danced for Toronto All-Star Girls when I moved there for school. So yeah, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet because I could go on and on and on about my experience.
And Erika, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Erika Virk Dhindsa. I started dancing at the bout of age 1.5, 2, like a lot of little girls do. I started off with Bollywood, and in around, I think 2009, I was in grade 11. That's when I was introduced to Bhangra, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Shortly after grade 12, I joined AVA, and that was also the best couple of years, I think, that in the Bhangra journey. And girls got older, and the team kind of got dismantled. Some people got married, some went ahead to school. And me being the young, I still wanted to dance. So a few years later, I missed the team, I missed dancing, and I opened up an all-female dance for about 4 years now. And our youngest student is 2, and we go all the way up to ladies and grandma classes. So kind of living up my passion through. I think we're all still students, and we always will be. But it's been a good journey, I think, for anybody who's ever been around Bhangra.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, everyone. So obviously we've had quite a lot of questions in. I think a lot of people are really excited about the topic that we're going to discuss today, around kind of females and having a career and doing your education alongside Bhangra. And it's interesting because we're all at different stages at the moment. Some of us are working our jobs, some of us are still studying. And it's interesting because we're all still involved in the Bhangra circuit somehow, and whether that just be for your experience or knowledge, you'll always still kind of have some sort of a link to the Bhangra circuit. So thank you for everyone that sent their questions in. I'll definitely try and make sure that I get all of them answered for you. So I'll start first by speaking to Navneet about this question. So do you think male teams have an advantage over female teams?
Yeah, starting with the big questions. I think it's a very nuanced answer. I think, yes, I think male teams do have an advantage over female teams. And that being said, something I'm also trying to be more conscious of is being gender inclusive. So men's teams and women's teams. But I think, the form originally is for men. The moves, you want to be big, you want to be wide. Naturally, men are bigger, women are smaller people. So when you're on stage, especially in a competitive scene, that shows. So women often have to work harder because they had to dance as big, got to dance as wide. I think another maybe like underlying advantage they have is, in general, at least on the East Coast is what I can speak to, the Bhangra circuit, there's a lot of guys involved, especially a lot of successful guys. And it's kind of like a boys' club. So as a woman, it's hard, especially as a leader or a captain or a coach, to kind of break through and have your own and have your voice there. And a lot of times they share ideas. They like know who's going to get into what comp. And if you want to get it to be a judge somewhere, like you got to know the right people. And because there just are more guys in the circuit, I think naturally they're more well connected. And it goes a really long way for girls teams. And I don't think it's, I don't think guys are purposefully trying to take advantage or be better than women. I think we're all competitive and we all want to be successful. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just the way that the institution is structured. It's just, it gives men the advantage, especially guys in Bhangra. So that's kind of my 2 cents there. I do think, though, especially recently, like there has been a shift in the circuit. It's not perfect. There are teams that still experience a lot of prejudice, and women are, often not treated well or respected. But there are teams that are doing an excellent job of welcoming their women leaders, their women dancers, women DJs. So I think it's slowly changing. But
thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, Cabs, I'm going to go over to you because it'll be interesting to get like a male perspective on that. So, do you think that male teams have an advantage over female teams? Now, you've got both in the academy. So, what are your thoughts?
In terms of, I feel like in terms of dancing and putting on a performance at a competition, I wouldn't say there's any advantage. If you pick your competition, I guess, wisely, but this kind of piggybacks off what Navneet was saying. Like it is kind of male dominated. Like they've done it longer, so it's tough to find a competition that kind of has that neutral vibe that where like a girls team could go and win. Because nowadays, like you guys know, there's so many competitions you go to and they just won't place a girls team first, right? And it's stupid and it's dumb, but like you just won't. So based off the judges or like the committee or the organization or whatever it may be, right? But if you pick your competition wisely, I think there may be like a pretty even advantage. Coaching a girls team, like they have a lot more. I don't know, like how Navneet said, guys, you're meant to dance wider and all that and more powerful. And look bigger. That is one part of Bhangra. But if you look at like the grace aspect and the nakra aspect, I feel like girls are a little bit more natural with those aspects. So if like I said, like if you pick your competition more wisely, I guess, like go to somewhere where they'll have more modern judges, where they'll have people who don't have biases and stuff, and the committee is kind of showing that as representing that as well, then I think there's really no advantage or disadvantage, just how hard you prepare. Okay, but brilliant. I also agree with Navneet on the underlying issue of the whole Bhangra circuit. It is, I do feel that, yeah.
Perfect. So Juhee, I'm going to come over to you with this question. So if you've danced with males on the team, what do you think the main differences are compared to dancing with just females?
I think it's difficult, and in terms of you can just generalize and say, my experience, because I've danced with 3, I think I can say trained at least with 3 all-girls teams, and then I've danced with co-ed as well. I think each team I've been with has been different. It's not been like completely the same experience, and it depends, again, what kind of people you are surrounded by. It is hard because I think there is this view that girls generally are a little bit more bitchy politics-wise, etc. But I think it honestly just depends on girls you've surrounded with. Mostly I've had a really positive experience and I've really, really enjoyed it. And, when you develop that initial bond with your team training-wise, it's probably been stronger with the females, I think. And then as it's gone tougher, everyone deals with things differently, be it guys or girls. So I think that's when everything comes out in terms of, if any kind of disagreements or problems, it all comes out during that point of stress. I think in terms of dancing with guys in a co-ed team, sometimes it can be hard. I think I personally haven't experienced this to a huge kind of effect, but I think a lot of girls have said that they do tend to get a little bit, they feel like they're not getting as much attention from their captain or coach, especially if they're male, and they feel that there's more emphasis on the guys. And I think that is a problem that has improved over the years, and I think it's become more subtle as well, and people are trying to focus on, you know, making a uniform team regardless if it's male or females. But I think it still exists. It's just a natural thing that guys tend to do, as well as girls would probably do as well if the girls are coaching. But I think we should all try and move forward and focus on the whole team being as a whole, rather than kind of being like, oh, let's just focus on the guys and girls. But I do agree, obviously, girls sometimes are more natural with grace, whereas guys are more wider. So sometimes you do have to focus on the guys and being like, okay, now we need to get you being a bit more graceful. So that's okay. But it's just that your strength comes from like dancing as a team, rather than having that division, whatever the gender may be, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think it's just about, if people have got certain strengths, about getting the whole team to have those strengths as well.
Yeah.
And I think something that I always kind of hear a lot when people do competitions is, oh, the guys are covering the girls. You know, and I think we need to work on getting rid of that, because the guys shouldn't be covering the girls. You know, girls are equally as good, and if not, sometimes better. So, you know, I think that's definitely a stereotype as well that we need to work on as a circuit.
Like you said, it still does happen. So it means we're not quite there yet, where we do treat, you know, everyone the same. But I know people are trying in their formations and stuff, trying to bring the focus onto girls and guys. So sometimes it's part of that breaking out formation. But, you know, it is more obvious, I think, in certain teams than others. And it's something we should try and work on. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll move on to the next question. If you've ever faced an obstacle during your Bhangra experience because of your gender, how did you overcome it? So Erika, I'll come over to you with that.
To be completely honest with you, I was lucky to kind of step foot into the Bhangra world through an all-girls team, and I competed, you know, with a for 5-6 years. So and like we were good. We were competing, and I think, like Kabeer said, we picked our competition wisely. So I think captains and Sue had to deal with kind of things like this during judges meetings and things like that. But for myself as a dancer at that point, I didn't necessarily feel any kind of difference at all during that time. I think we were an all girls team and we were up against an all boys team, and you know, both teams were giving their all, and it's just like there is an underlying issue, of course, and it is a male dominated world, and not just Bhangra, but I think that we like there has been a shift, and we're still not completely there yet. But I think I was very lucky to not have to face as a team, and now as an academy, now just an individual dancer. I had never felt that. I think if you are just a strong female, you just want to fight back all the time. So I really haven't felt any sort of issue, and I think that our community is doing a really good job at letting females feel equal now, and you know, letting Bhangra being equal dance now.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Erika. And what about you, just what's your kind of opinion on that? Have you ever had to face an obstacle?
Same as Erika, we danced on the same team, and we had a male coach, and I feel like he really made us believe that girls are equal to men, and that we can, whatever they can do, we can definitely do the same thing. And so we had him always, and we always definitely chose like the right competitions. There were competitions where we were like we should have placed, and like the whole gender thing did come to play as well. And it always depends on like who's judging, what the rubric and everything is like as well. But luckily, I haven't had to deal with anything too major, luckily.
And I remember kind of when I came out to BC and I saw you guys, and I was like, whoa, these girls are beasts. Like, you guys were training so hard. But it was such a good experience. You know, it was so nice to like be a part of that. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, like I want to do this, you know, this is amazing. So that was really cool. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. So we're going to discuss kind of careers. So how do you manage to have a career alongside Bhangra, and have you got any tips for that? So Navneet, I'll come back over to you if you want to answer that.
Yeah. So I guess in my other life, I'm a healthcare consultant. I work like, full time. Consulting is pretty like demanding job. And honestly, like the best thing is when you love something, you'll make time for it. So for me, Bhangra is a release. It's a way to connect with other people, see my friends, have fun. I love it so much. It's hard to see myself not doing it. And so the way I prioritize it is, I go to work during the day. If I come home at 7, 8 o'clock, and I have run-throughs due, I just got to do them at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and so it's just about, I guess, time management, making sure that you've thought about your week in advance. And if you have class or practice, that you're figuring out, okay, I have to go to work at this time. I can make it work this way, and I'll go to practice at this time, or I'll do my run-throughs at this time. So honestly, no secret sauce or anything like that. Mostly just managing calendars and prioritizing things that make you happy. So for me, Bhangra is that. So I need to have it, and I make sure I get what I need.
Yeah, so it boils down to time management, really, doesn't it? And how you kind of go about that. Cabs, what about you? So, what are you currently doing, and how are you managing that alongside kind of running the academy?
Yeah. Since the pandemic, I mean, academy's been closed, so we've been just doing renos here. But on the side, I'm doing school. Sorry, not Bhangra.
I love how Bhangra is
always thinking of Bhangra. Yeah. And you know what's crazy though? Like just you saying that, I feel like Bhangra actually made me realize what I have a passion for, which is teaching. So I'm in school doing a teaching program, and then I'll be hopefully high school teacher by the end of the year if the schools open up again. But yeah, it's crazy how you're just doing something for fun. You're dancing, and you're learning as you're going, and then you really realize that, especially when we started the academy, I realized that I enjoy teaching. I enjoy seeing people grow and learn and break barriers. So I just tried applying that to a career which I could see fulfilling. So I found that I interact with the youth really well, especially like high school kids. So I haven't taught yet in schools, but I'm doing the program, and it's something that I'm really enjoying. So, and yeah, if you really want to do something, you'll make time for it. Yeah, like it's if it's something that you have your eyes set on, your goal, your heart on it, you'll make time for it.
Yeah, and you'll be the cool teacher anyway, because you know how to do Bhangra, so it's fine.
No homework teacher, that's me.
Just teach them some Bhangra steps and tell them to make sure they know them the next time. Yeah, that's it.
100%. Yeah, and I've already thought about all the dance things.
And Juhee, I'll come over to you with that.
Yeah, so I am a full-time doctor, although this year I'm sort of taking a year out of official training to specialise, and I'm doing kind of mainly teaching medical students, which again I love teaching, which probably explains why I've liked teaching Bhangra as well. So I think I have always just liked keeping busy, and I think most people who do juggle a few things in their lives are just naturally like that. And again, like has already been mentioned, when you are passionate about something, you will make time for it, even if it's long hours. You just fit things around in your day. Even if time management doesn't come naturally to you, you will develop it as you want to do that passion and, follow it up. You will learn to kind of make it work. I think I am quite organized, but I can be quite sort of spur of the moment, and sometimes life can just get a bit messy when you have lots of things. But I think, life is short, and you should try and do as many things that you find passion in, because you may not get a chance later to do it. But I think the tips are just enjoy it, and you do things that make you happy and bring happiness to you and those around you. And, if it's not doing that for you, then it's not worth pursuing. Try something else. And I think even if things get tough at work or things get tough in Bhangra, there's something else to come home to, or there's something else to do. And I think that brings a lot of comfort for a lot of people, that they have something else in their life. And again, it's already been mentioned that you connect with people through that. A lot of my friends, people I've met, has not been only through my career, but it's been through dance, been through Bhangra, been through all the different things I've tried in life. So I think for everyone, it's just definitely something that should bring you happiness and bring you closer to new people and different people.
Definitely, yeah. I agree with everything that you say. I think it's really important as well because, there's a lot of talk about mental health and that sort of thing. And Bhangra obviously is kind of a release for some people. I know that when I started doing it, for me, it was a massive release, and it was something that I started off doing as a hobby, but I actually loved it so much. I'm at the point where I am now, and I can't sort of, let go of it. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, Juhee. And I think, like the rest of you said, if you're passionate about it, you'll make time for it no matter what. So Erika, what about yourself? What's your kind of position at the moment? And in terms of Bhangra Dhindsa, how do you make time for it?
I think it kind of comes down to prioritizing, and how is it a priority for you and in what way. For myself, I kind of have my foot in a lot of different little things, and I think anyone who's kind of taking up the entrepreneurial side has to be able to multitask. You have to be able to organize, and I think the biggest thing is teamwork. And no matter what you do, if you're able to create a team in different aspects, all of the things are able to kind of grow together. So for myself, at the store, at our Indian store, we have a good team when it comes to social thing. You have a team, and of course at the academy you have instructors, you have admin, you have marketing, people and goals. I think this teamwork is that helps you to be able to multitask and be organized and live your passions. So that's something definitely I think we all know these things, but some people kind of enforce them or go by them. But definitely multitasking.
Definitely. And Juhee, what about yourself?
Well, I am a full-time dental hygienist, and at a point I was balancing Bhangra and dental hygiene, and I loved it. It's just you balance your time, you go to the gym. It's like if you want to go to the gym, instead your gym is Bhangra, right? So after work, even if you've had a hard day, you're excited. And by the time you get to practice, it's just something about the music. And when you start dancing, and you're right, it's all about it's like a mental health thing. It just totally brings the life, the good energy out of you. And you're just at the end of practice, you're like, thank goodness I made that time to come out. So yeah. I loved coming to Bhangra after work.
Definitely. And I think as a whole, we all kind of show that no matter how old you get, you'll always make time for Bhangra. Even if, I know, Juhee, you say that you're retired, but even doing stuff like this, it's still sort of Bhangra related, and you're willing to take the time out to kind of still have discussions and stuff like that. So I think it's a massive thing. And it will help, obviously, the new generation, the upcoming generation. And it will carry on kind of educating them about Bhangra when they see stuff like this as well. So,
of course,
yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question then. This is an interesting one because I know that some of us are in different positions to others. So do you think that marriage will interfere with your Bhangra life and your view of women in Bhangra after marriage? So this is interesting because obviously I'm married, so I know that my life hasn't really changed. Luckily, I've got very supportive in-laws, but I know, Erika, you're married. Navneet, you're engaged, so it's interesting to kind of hear views on this. So I'll go over to you, Erika, and see what your views are on this.
Definitely. For example, right here, I think it comes down to you and your partner being on the same page. You don't want to be constantly living like you were your entire life with your parents. You come to a new chapter in your life, and I think this is where you need the support. If you're able to, to your partner and kind of get them to come to be on the same page as you as to what it means to you, why are you so passionate about it? What difference and making your life for others, they would understand. I'm very lucky that my husband does understand, and he encourages it and supports it. And I think because he does, like my in-laws as well, and I think that there was that old school approach of it. I know being in performances and such forth, but I think it just comes down to how you explain it to them, and if you're able to execute what it means to you. And if my in-laws come to our annual shows every year and they see our students dancing, they see what it means to me and they see what I'm doing out there. So I think they understand it and accept it a lot easier compared to some in-laws or some parents who would not. So I think it's just understanding and explaining.
Thank you. Navneet, over to you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I would agree with the sentiment. For me personally, I don't think marriage will change how I interact and do Bhangra. I think maybe more than that, like just life getting busy. Like as your work gets more crazy, maybe, I don't have kids, but like people have kids, like you got to start taking care of those things versus like, going to practice or something like that. But at least for the foreseeable future, for me, I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. And I feel like Erika said, it's important to be on the same page as your partner and make sure you've explained, hey, this is why it's important to me and I'm going to continue doing this. And yeah, I think that's the way to go about it. And I think in general, funny enough, I actually know more guys who are married in the circuit than I do more women. Like I don't think I know a single girl that is competing and married, but maybe I'll change that. Who knows? But I think
we'll change that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And Kabeer, what about yourself? So from a male perspective, what do you think?
I'm not married, but I've set myself up so I can dance for forever. Mainly the reason we restarted an academy was, for us as well, so that we can dance forever. Whoever's on the team, whoever wants to come in, but yeah, I don't think it should change once you get married. My girlfriend dances right now, and I'll just force her to dance even when we get married. So I mean, I'm chilling.
That always helps if you're a Bhangra couple, to be fair. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Damn. No, it's okay. To be honest, my husband's really good. My in-laws are really good. So, they're really supportive, which helps. I know, obviously, Cabs, you've met Dali and you know that he's very chilled out. I think it's really interesting. I think, again, what you guys said was it's more about kind of making them feel involved in the process as well. So if, for example, I've done a class, I'll come home and I'll show my mother-in-law, oh, this is what we did today, just so she can keep engaged as well. And she recommends it to her friends and says, oh, so-and-so is asking what class you've got on this weekend. And, Kabeer, like you guys do classes for older women as well. Erika, you do the same. And I think that sort of stuff helps as well because it educates the older generation about actually this is what we're doing. So I think, you guys are doing a brilliant thing there. And I think, just keep that going because it's obviously working. So, yeah, brilliant. So I'll move over to the next question then.
Sorry, can I add something?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how you were just saying like those classes. So it's crazy how when you've done Bhangra for so long, you meet so many different people and everyone's kind of eventually stops at some point. So those classes that we run, those they're just kind of like aerobics classes, but we've noticed that so many of our old dancers who stopped competing come back to those and just do them. And it's nice to just see them and talk to them. And, even though like you're not competing again, but you're just dancing. So yeah, like, if you get an opportunity to do something like that, definitely take it.
Brilliant. So I'm going to move over to Juhee on this one. So if there was one thing that you would change about Bhangra in general, what would it be?
That's a very good question. I think the art form itself is amazing, and it's, like any other dance, it's got a lot of culture, and nothing about itself I would change. I think it's just the surrounding human factors in terms of, I think the scene depends on where you are, but I can only speak for the UK, it's just sort of the way people react to the more petty things throughout like competitions and just throughout the country, rivalries, etc. I think a bit of competition is healthy, especially when you're preparing, and also having that team spirit, but it's when it kind of delves into politics and sort of not being nice to each other, that fundamental sort of humanity kind of goes out the window when people are just trying to rep their team. It's probably that kind of aspect which I'm not very keen on. And I think there's just, you don't have to be a horrible person, to, be part of the scene. And I think we are getting more past that, I think. And everyone's coming together. I think especially through classes, you see a lot of people from different teams coming and bonding. So it is a lot better now. And I think, the culture of it and the camaraderie of it is spreading. But I think, it's just the politics side, which still does exist a bit, which I would want gone.
Yeah. And it's really interesting you say that, because when I went to Canada and I met like so many teams, it was really interesting because like their units were literally next door to each other. But they have so much love, for every single team. And it is so nice to see because they're all so supportive of each other. But in the UK, it's a little bit different. I think we still have a lot more growing to do. So I always try my best to kind of support every team and support anything new and upcoming. I always say to anyone on the team that be humble. And I think a lot of that, I've spent a lot of time with Cab, asking him, how did he start off? How did, everything happen? And it's just about educating yourself. And I think it's really interesting that you've made that point, because politics can make it a really messy game. So thank you for that, Juhee. Jaskirn, what about yourself?
I feel like sportsmanship is very important. And like you were saying about how in the UK right now, the teams aren't getting along, there's rivalry. It was like that here as well. But I find that like as we all got older, we grew so fond of each other. It's like a family now. So like even though we might have like not been the biggest fans of one another as we were competing, now it's just like we see each other, we have like so much like to talk about, so much to catch up on, just because we all grew up together. So eventually in the UK it will get better as well. But in general, just the politics and better sportsmanship in Bhangra could be improved.
Brilliant. So the next question I'm going to go on to is, I think we've kind of covered a little bit of this, but I just want to go into a bit more depth. So in terms of the Bhangra scene, do you think that we've done enough, or there's enough being done to make sure that, females are seen the same as males, or what things do you think still need to be done, maybe from an organisation perspective or from a judging perspective? So that'll be interesting to hear. So Navneet, I'll come over to you.
Yeah. So I think about equality versus equity, right? Maybe that's a little too nuanced, but like I think in general people understand that women are equal to men in the circuit. Like women's teams can win first place, and guys' teams are just as competitive. Girls' teams are equally competitive. All that stuff. Women are, roughly equal in the circuit, but I think it's more about equity. So how many women coaches and captains are there versus male coaches and captains? How many women judges do we have versus men's judges? How many academies are solely run by women versus men? Not that we need to like say that men need to move aside and, not or like stop doing what they're doing, but I think we just need to create more space for women in the circuit. And that's something that I think with the Ronak is what we tried to, I guess, share with people or encourage people to do. It's such a hard question because there's just so many feelings. But I think as a circuit, we just need to make more space for women and think of women as partners, whether it's building a set for a competitive team, whether it's just teaching a workshop or leading an academy, making sure that they have an equal seat at the table. It's not just about having the seat, it's also about letting them talk while they're there. Because I think that's kind of the next frontier where people me to challenge each other on, especially in the collegiate circuit. I feel like that's where you see a lot of co-ed teams, and you see, you know, a male captain or a men captain, a captain who's a guy and a captain who's a girl. And a lot of times, like Juhee said, the guys do value the guys in formation more, or when they're coming up with like different team decisions, it's always kind of the male perspective that is dominating. So just making sure that we give that same space to women. So I think that's, as a circuit, we need to work on that. Like I said before, I think we're getting closer to it. I think people understand that women are equal and women can do Bhangra, but now it's just going beyond that. Okay, they can do Bhangra, but they can also do all the other things too. So yeah.
Thank you. And Kabeer, what about yourself? What do you think?
I think we're close. Much better than, like, I mean, over the years, right? If you compare it, even five years ago, it's much better. But giving him that space, encouraging him to do a little bit, take on that more responsibility, right? Dive deeper into the culture and do it. Because I know so many girls, they do Bhangra because of the culture aspects, and they know all of the things that most of the guys know. And, you know, like it all depends on how much you educate yourself. So if you've got that knowledge, take it next step forward, right? We always encourage ladies here to, you know, tweak the set, change it up, do what you feel like is best for your team. But there are, like Navneet said, there are parts of the Bhangra circuit where it isn't maybe being pushed as much, you know. Maybe it's, oops, I took another screenshot, my bad. It's not being pushed as much, right? There are some parts of even Canada and like our West Coast where there are competitions where you just get the vibe where that a girls team will not do well there, you know. Like it's weird. But I don't know. I get that vibe from a lot of competitions, so we choose them wisely. But it's definitely being pushed in terms of women taking a stand. You know, I see a longer leap than from them. Yeah.
When you say, like, you kind of get a vibe and you pick competitions wisely, you know, it's sad that, you know, we're still at that point, because, you know, anyone should be able to compete wherever they want. But what would you say would be like a major reason behind that? Do you think it's kind of like down to maybe like the judging panel, or, you know, what sort of factors do you think influence that? Yeah,
I think mainly judging panel probably takes most of the cake there. A little bit of the committee. Like, just for example, if a girls team goes live to a competition, the chances of them placing are a lot less, just because they're all girls. And it's not because, like, oh, they may have actually had a better performance than everyone, right? But I just feel like people maybe judging live are a little bit more you know, older in age, or maybe they come from a generation where women weren't doing Bhangra, so they just don't know how to react to it, you know. So maybe it's going to take a few more years for like the generation shift. But yeah, there are parts of Bhangra where even if women do push, like, they are still being held back a little bit, but it's not stopping them, which is nice to see. So keep going.
Brilliant. So I'll move over on to the next question. So Erika, I'll come to you with this one. So what's your opinion on Bhangra is a male dance and females should do Gidda?
Sorry, what? I mean, I can speak for myself and, like, maybe the West Coast, but I think this phrase is, you can say it's almost outdated. There are many males in Malve Gidda. It's a form of Gidda, and they have so much fun doing it. And Malve Gidda has been coming from a very, very long time. It's not something that's new. I think it's something that the males kind of need to accept now, that the females are here, we're ready, and we want to be part of this. I saw a video on Instagram a couple days ago. I think it was a UK team as well. And it was just a classic video and the captions, something like, let's try out a few Gibda moves. And it was a classroom full of males and females, and they were doing Bhangra, and they added a few Gibda steps. And it was so nice to see males and, like young boys and older boys enjoying this. So I think, like the shift is coming, it's here, and it's definitely, if girls can do Bhangra, then boys can do Gibda. I think it goes both ways, and I think that we're a newer generation, and we need to kind of keep it alive and not kind of fight against it. So yeah, I think it should go both ways.
Perfect, thank you. And
outdated.
In terms of kind of Bhangra, I know that we have, there's so many elements to Bhangra. It's not just dancing. There's sort of organising competitions. There's, coaching. There's so many elements to it. But I'm not sure about Canada, but I know in the UK we have a lack of dollies that are female. So what's your kind of perspective on that? Just so I'll come over to you. So what do you feel about sort of lack of female dollies in the circuit?
There's also a lack of female dollies here. It would be nice if more girls were to pursue learning how to play dol, because it's such a big part of Bhangra. Like if there were more, like I guess we do have classes here. So I guess it's just a matter of more people wanting to learn how to do it. And I guess it's just not as common to play the dol, so maybe that's why not many people try to learn. But there are people, like I know a couple girls that do know how to play dol, but not that many people that have really taken it, like that they go play live dol on stage or anything like that. But there are more people learning for sure. I'd be interested to learn. I know a couple.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've always wanted to learn dol. But when I was younger, my parents were very like, no, kudiyan nahi kardiyan idda, like, munde sikhde hunde a dol. And I was like, huh? What? Where's this come from? But then now they're like, oh yeah, you can do what you want. And it's a bit frustrating because, when I kind of made the time to learn it, I wasn't allowed to. But I kind of always push people, and it's something that I covered on the last stream where I said, if you persist with something, your parents will realize it's not actually just a phase you're going through. It's something you really want to do. So yeah,
it's like it's a musical instrument, so it takes a lot of time and practice, just like any other instrument. So I find that maybe that's the reason why not that many, you don't see that many females doing it. But there are a lot of guys that do it, but there's not that many people that have mastered it either, right?
Yeah. Can I add something to that?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's like here, I mean, we offer dol classes and stuff, and there are like just generally like less people wanting to learn dol. So I'm sad to say it's a dying art. But it's pretty crazy. It's a funny story actually. So like my sister 15 years ago, she wanted to learn dol. And my mom wouldn't send her alone to classes. So she sent me with her. And then we learned together for a few months, and she ended up not liking it. And then I continued on to this. So yeah, I owe it to the dol and my sister for my Bhangra involvement. Yeah. But back then there were a lot of women learning, and yeah, it's just a dying art, which is sad. But everyone should learn dol. It should be mandatory.
I'm just Kabeer, when are your classes?
I mean, well, I'll let you know when quarantine is over, but yeah.
I just want to jump in there. Like, there is an academy in London. This is more for the UK. I'm not sure how much across the country, but they're very good at, like, kind of advertising in terms of showing off their female talent of learning dols. And it was only like the last 2 years that I've seen more females like showing off them doing. And I think it is all of that. The more you see that, the more likely you want to try it, or your kids will want to try it. So it's just really showcasing and showing off the talent in females. And the more we see that, even if there's just one or two, if it gets out there, more people will be interested. But yeah, I do agree. It is in some places a dying art. So it's quite difficult to just hopefully wishing that will carry on. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, Juhee, I'm going to come back to you with the next question. So, what do you think about males coaching female teams?
So, that's an interesting question. I have been in a team that we won as well, that competition, which was inherently coached by a male. I don't see any issue with it as such, because if we are trying to think past, you know, females, males being separate and thinking about gender inclusivity, we can't just focus on, okay, well, only because he's a guy, he can't coach this team. I do think it's nice to see females advocating and leading that on a separate kind of note. I do want to see more of that, seeing females taking that hold and being like, look, I'm going to, you know, captain and coach a team now. And it would be nice to see all girls teams being led by a female. But, you know, there are co-ed teams which have both male and females. So coaching them, only because a guy has coached a female team doesn't make it less sort of value in if you know, if that question is trying to get that sort of answer. I don't think there is an issue with it, but I would still want to see more females taking the reign and, you know, advocating for all girls teams and taking that role on, just purely from a leadership perspective. But again, I don't think there's an issue with it.
Yeah, and I think kind of looking at what Cabs has done with like VanCity Bhangra, I know why he's a fan of the girls team, because they just get on with it. I've seen them in their training sessions, and you know, generally, like the experience I've had with girls as well, you know, Juhee, you covered this off earlier where you said there's kind of this stereotype where girls are more bitchy and they don't get on. And, you know, the thing that I've always had is, how do you get on with so many girls? And I think it's just about kind of just being the way that you are. You know, I always say to anyone that I kind of meet or talk to, what you see is what you get, you know. And I think in the long run, people do appreciate that. So Navneet, I'll come over to you. What do you think about males coaching female teams?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because that's something that we were thinking about when we put on Ronak. It's like, okay, do we take teams that are, the dancers are all women, but the coach is a guy? Or do we want teams that are where the girls, the dancers are the girls, and the girl is the one coaching and leading? Because at the end of the day, we wanted to elevate women's leadership responsibilities and decision making as well. And so I go back and forth on this. I think I struggle. Like, I think as a captain of, I used to be a captain of an all girls team, a coach, whatever you want to call it. And there's definitely a difference in, there's something really special to know that like all women created something and put it on stage. We all work together. I feel like in general, I'm sure it's easier for women to connect with women and men to connect with men. Like, it's a very broad statement, but I think when it comes to Bhangra, like, you often see that. But that being said, there are tons of very respectable, like, guy coaches that lead very successful women's teams, and they love each other and they're killing it. Kabeer is an example of that. So I think what it comes down to is respect. So if a guy coach respects his dancers, no matter male or female, like, you know, I think that's the best situation to be in. I've also seen guy coaches yell and scream at their women while they're on stage, and not in like a, hey, you gotta do better way, but in a, hey, like, derogatory, like, I don't think you should be dancing way. So when I see people like that, that really discourages me, because I'm like, oh man, we should have women leading women, because at least we can like hold each other together. But yeah. So I don't know. I go back and forth. I also think someone actually brought this up in one of the judging meetings at Ronak afterwards. It's just like, you know, traditionally a lot of girls teams, they need that guy coach to kind of elevate them in the circuit, whether it's getting into competitions, or maybe it's his network, or maybe it's just his experience. And a lot of women just don't have the experience to build a set or take their team to a certain place. So sometimes you need that that person. So I don't know, it's complicated.
Yeah. I think what you said though, about having, like, you know, that kind of feeling when you're a girl coach and you put something out there for females, it's maybe that sense of achievement, because we know what we're fighting against in the circuit. So I think it's really important that we carry on doing those things. But at the same time, like just looking at kind of the comments that we've got, so like Lali's mentioned, there might be lack of stuff, but there is nothing stopping us from doing it, and that's right. There isn't anything stopping us from doing it. If anything, it was probably harder when maybe we started off doing Bhangra, but now it's a lot easier for a lot of people because women have paved the way now, and made it very easy for a lot of women out there to, do the art and become Tolis and do all of that. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that as well. Just so I'll come over to yourself. So what do you think about male coaches for female teams?
Well, Johnny was our coach, and he did an awesome job of just like I said earlier. He's like, whatever a guy can do, you can do as well. And I feel like sometimes when I've danced on teams where there's girl leaders, and sometimes they were like, well, like we're girls, right? So sometimes it's nice to hear it from a male that where he believes in us as well. It just makes you feel even more empowered. And then like we would have him as an example as a male dancer teaching us these moves. And then I remember like it was like Erika was there at these practices, and we had a couple other girls that are really well known in the Bhangra circuit as well. And we would, whatever Johnny would be doing, we would try to mimic him or even dance better than him. So I really enjoyed having a male coach, and I think as long as the male coach is respecting women, and I think there's no issue with that. And female coaches are great as well. So it just depends on the person and their knowledge.
Brilliant. Erika, what about yourself?
Definitely agreeing with Jasu. Johnny was a great coach, and I think, we did very well for all the competition. And I think he definitely gave us girls a sense of confidence that we may have not gotten from a female coach. Just the confidence today that we have was definitely inspired by him, and the go get it. If I can do it, you can do it. It goes a very, very long way. So I think that it comes down to your connection with the coach, with the girls. Your vibe attracts your tribe. It is what it is. So I don't think it should matter necessarily. Like the respect factor is a big, big thing. Let it be a female teaching or a male teaching, because it can go good, but it can also go bad. Right? And you always want to have influence on the team. I think only then will you have a positive. So yeah.
Definitely. Thank you for that. And I think just one thing to kind of go back to was, how we talked about kind of the motivational point for some people. So if they've got a male coach, it kind of motivates them. Again, that's not something we should rely on as women as well. Any support is amazing. And, like Kabeer is sort of someone that I've really looked up to in Bhangra because he's done so many amazing things. And he's so supportive of women in Bhangra, which is like, it's brilliant. Don't cry, Cab. But I've got really good friends in the Bhangra circuit. Lali, he teaches me a lot about different things as well within Bhangra, which it's amazing for my knowledge. But at the same time, even if kind of we're not sort of coaching our own team, there's nothing stopping us from going out to learn from others. So when I came over to Canada, my whole purpose was I want to learn about Bhangra. I want to learn what you guys are doing over there because it works so well. And to bring that culture over to the UK, slowly it's happening. Fingers crossed we'll get there a bit quicker, but it's just one of those things. So I really value kind of the time that I spent with you lot to learn about these things as well. But yeah, so I'll go on to the next question then. So we've nearly been on for about an hour, so I'll make this the last one. So in terms of your opinion, why do you think that girls are now more interested in Bhangra rather than folk dance such as Gidda, Luddi and Sammi? So Kabeer, I'll come over to you.
I don't know, but they are like a lot more interested. Even at the academy, like our academy is split 70% ladies and 30% men, right? And even just the intake, like there's always more ladies interested in learning, and yeah. But like you said, they're more interested in Bhangra compared to Gidda and stuff. I don't know if that's really the case, because Bhangra kind of embodies a lot of that. It kind of embodies like even nowadays, like you see people doing Gidda steps in Bhangra, right? So it kind of like, I feel like a lot of the other dances are incorporated in Bhangra. So it's like this hybrid style that's now exists. So I guess that's why maybe, yeah, but I don't know why they're generally more interested, like why they want to learn. Yeah, it's something I am actually still working on, researching, like just asking. But yeah, yeah, interesting. I don't know, but they are, yeah. So,
Juhee, what about you? What's your opinion? So why do you think they're more interested in Bhangra than sort of the folk dances?
I think it is to do with sort of the exposure that we get here, well, in the UK, I can speak for. And I think Bhangra is just something that I got exposed to when I started uni, so that's what I started off with. But I think that's probably what happens, is because there's more just general Bhangra out there, which again, you mentioned, Kabeer, with the whole hybrid, it kind of incorporates a lot of different segments in it, so they're getting a flavour of everything. But also people having that expertise in those specific kind of forms is not as readily available. And I think when you start learning Bhangra and then you kind of surround yourself with the people who have that level of knowledge and expertise, then you are more open and more likely then to go down and explore those folk dances. And then you become more comfortably like, oh, I didn't realize that, you know, I could do like a whole Luddi kind of whole performance just doing Luddi. And I think it is mainly to do with that. And the more we kind of get open and, you know, invite kind of that expert knowledge to be shared, and it's more sort of in popular culture, more and more people will eventually want to do more of those other forms. And again, same with Gidda, I think it's also being taught by people who have that sort of knowledge, and I don't think we have as much of that here, which is why we don't have that many classes going on. But I think it's coming back, and more people are focusing, you know, on learning it, and therefore then they'll be, you know, at that level to teach it on to other people.
Yeah, definitely. Jessica, what about yourself?
I think the reason why Bhangra is so popular now is just because it's globally known. Like, we have Bhangra performances at the White House, NBA halftime. Where else? Can't even think of the Olympics. The London Olympics. Like, it's just everywhere. It's like in like music. You can even hear Punjabi MC when you go to like a club. Like, it's just like the dance is like known by everyone, right? So I think it's just getting more and more popular year by year.
Yeah. And Erika, what about yourself? So obviously you teach Gidda. So, you know, I suppose it's probably like a different story for you in terms of the interest that you can get. So how do you make that happen?
Definitely. I think that, you know, we've done a very good job over the years of keeping Bhangra alive. And in a decade, and we've done a very good job with our generation. But I think Gidda has kind of been left behind a little bit, and it may be because of lack of knowledge, or you know, Bhangra may feel like it's more of a stronger dance just because of the body form. We, you know, as females, we do feel a lot more confident, a lot more larger. So I think a lot of it has to do with lack of knowledge of Gidda, and also girls may feel that it's more of a inferior dance compared to Bhangra. One thing that we've noticed is we launched our Gidda. Oh, are some people missing? Everybody still here? Navneet?
Yeah,
we're all here.
Okay. It just went like black. Okay. But one initiative that we kind of launched our Gidda team, Sunehri, Pippal, Pattian, and we have been trying very hard to kind of share knowledge about it, how to be, how the difference between folk and modern Gidda. And it's a very different dance than Bhangra, and it's a beautiful dance. And I think, you know, for ourselves, our student intake in Gidda has a lot from last year. We had so many Bhangra dancers last year, and now we have almost half Gidda dancers. So it just needs to be kind of given some love, given some attention. And, you know, Sami, Luddi, these are all graceful dances that females would be so good at it. So I think we kind of we've done a really good job with Bhangra, and maybe it's time to start doing Gidda as well.
Navneet, what about yourself? So what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think I agree with people's sentiment across the board. I feel like it might also have to do with music, and this might be because my lack of knowledge on Gidda too, but with Bhangra music, you can mix it in with top 40 hip hop and modern references that maybe kids who don't know Punjabi can understand and relate to. Whereas Gidda to me is a little bit more traditional. Often, for me at least, I don't ever hear it as mixed in the same way, and it's very taped Punjabi. So you can't even fully, if you don't understand Punjabi, you're what is this even saying? So maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't know. I think I agree.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah. I think that it's also a lot easier to understand the Bhangra and to be able to dance to it, because we do use it as an idiom as well, during the clubs or at hall parties or just in cultural events, but Gidda not necessarily. So yeah, definitely that may be a huge reason as to why I choose Bhangra. But then again, we should, if Gidda, we can say Gidda is a female dance. And so we should master it, and we should kind of save it and keep it alive for future generations.
Yeah. And I know, Cabs, obviously you guys teach Gidda, so that's kind of worked well within your academy as well. Would you say that you've got more of an interest in Bhangra than Gidda within the academy?
Yeah, Bhangra mainly. I strongly think maybe that's just because we are known as a Bhangra team from so long, so people kind of contact us for more of that stuff. But yeah, Gidda, I don't know. We don't get much inquiry, but we try mixing it in so that the ladies who do the Bhangra classes, they get to learn a little bit of it. But it's really hard finding an experienced Gidda instructor, because it requires a lot of folk knowledge and so a lot of experience. Yeah, I had something else to say about the male coaching, the question before this.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So from my experience, I've coached a guys team and a girls team, and the main difference is that women empathize a little bit better with their teammates. So, and that carries over to the success, right? Because they don't want to let each other down. Sometimes guys may think more of a joke, or there may be more of a power struggle at the practices. Sometimes when someone does something wrong, approaching that situation is always different with the guys team than the girls team. So I feel like that's probably the main difference in practice. But as per coach, I know you say I'm the coach, but we don't really have a coach. It's more, I kind of just do the choreography and then pass it on to the team, and then they kind of jumble it up and mix it up, and maybe if they like what they like, or they can change what they do. And usually cleaning and polishing the steps they do themselves. So it's just about creating that environment where everyone knows the boundaries and everyone knows the rules, and they're all working on that one goal. So as long as you can instill that in a team, it doesn't matter who leads it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. And I know you're great at what you do, because I've seen it, happening.
Thank you.
What you've created is amazing. And clearly it works. So I hope Graham's not watching thinking, why is Ami so friendly with you?
You gotta have him on the next one.
Yeah. Just let him know I do still remember him. I know who he is.
Yeah, I will.
I just want to jump in on that last question. Yeah. And I think just kind of following up on everyone said, yeah, we definitely, I think Erika mentioned that we should, focus on mastering those other segments and of those kind of other folk dance forms. And I think we Unseen Arts of Bhangra, we ran that class, I don't know if she was talking about that one, but where we did incorporate a little bit of Gidda, and we do try and get our classes to focus on segments or different folk art forms, instead of just doing a fast Bhangra routine every week. We're trying to bring that to our kind of audience and spreading that around. So I think more of that will definitely help, is just you yourself exploring different dance forms within our Punjabi culture, and then mastering that, and then to sort of spread that out is really, really important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, spreading that knowledge and maybe history about Bhangra is really important. So it's important to, tell people the names of moves, for example, telling people where Bhangra actually originated from, where it came from, how it started, just to expand people's knowledge. Because what I've seen, a lot of teams do here, for example, is they'll do a class, but it's just for the sake of doing a class. And I mean, whenever I've done a class, my whole point is that I don't care whether you pay or not. I would rather you learn something and walk away from it, because I think that's really important. But I think as a whole, as a circuit, we do need to make sure that we spread knowledge of Bhangra and, where the true art form came from. And I think if, sometimes I know that in the UK we do struggle with in terms of like resources being available. So for a while I kind of struggled putting on live Bhangra classes because there were no dollies available near me, and I obviously don't know how to play doll because my parents taught me when I was young. So, but it's kind of one of those things where I think if we reach out and ask, the worst answer you're going to get is no. But at least you've made that kind of move to ask people and think, you want this for your team, so reach out and don't be afraid to ask people for help if you need it. Because I'm sure you'll all agree that we're all always going to be learning about Bhangra, and there's always something to learn as well.
Yeah.
So just to kind of close off then, I'm going to go over to Navneet and just ask you, is there anything you kind of want to say just to close off and mention to anyone that's kind of watching or will be watching?
Yeah. I think for all the girls, all the women that are watching, just keep going. If you love Bhangra or any other dance form, or maybe it's some other passion or hobby, keep pursuing it, keep doing it. Whatever brings you joy and gives you that energy, don't ever stop because someone is putting you down or someone's saying no. Keep at it. For everyone else, I think, especially in the Bhangra circuit, I hope that we continue to give women space. I think we're doing a good job and we're slowly getting there, but let's keep moving forward. And I think maybe in the light of some of the other comments, we talked about sportsmanship. I hope that maybe we all bring a little better sportsmanship to the circuit and we can all just respect each other no matter what we do. So
yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. And Erika, what about yourself? Just any kind of last message to everyone?
Definitely. I think that like growing up, Bhangra Gidda kind of gave me a sense of belonging, which I understand now. It definitely helped me find who I am. And I think just as Indians, it's kind of our responsibility to keep this alive and kind of share it forward. So do your part, whatever you can. And it's fun. It's so much fun. It's not an individual sport, it's a team sport. So you learn multiple things about it. And I think just don't be afraid. If you want to dance, there's no right or wrong. Just dance. So just don't be afraid. Put yourself out there and just have fun with it. Let's keep it alive.
Thank you. And Jasu, what about yourself?
I would just say being a female in the Bhangra circuit is such an empowering thing. If anyone's going to hate on it, use that as motivation and don't give up, because I feel like past generations and new generations are carving the way. And I feel like one day down the line, they'll look back and be like, what? There was an actual thing that girls were compared to guys. Like, I feel like eventually it'll be a thing of the past.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. Juhee, what about you?
Yeah, just similar to what has already been mentioned, I think just be positive and spread that sort of positivity around you and around others and enjoy it. Yeah, it's fun, it's a dance, it's an art form. When you're performing it, you enjoy it. So, why not enjoy the whole kind of journey before and after? And again, I'd say for females or for anyone really, be proactive. If you want to pursue something or if you want to take it to that next level, do it. It doesn't matter who comes in your way. Take that leadership, own it, and push yourself. Life is just full of opportunities. It's just whether you're willing to grab it and then go from there.
Thank you. And Cab, last but not least, I'll come over to you.
Everyone can dance. That's the law. Yeah. Tune into our live Bhangra classes online, Instagram, if you guys want to get active at home. I don't know. Enjoy it. Yeah, have fun with it. It's you're not here for a long time. Enjoy it.
Especially with the current situation, who knows?
Yeah.
I think, just to kind of sign off on that, I think it's really important to make sure you enjoy Bhangra as well. There's times where it's going to be serious and, you're going to have to really practice hard and, really work as a team, and you're going to go through so many emotions. But I think those are the emotions that bring you together and bring you closer as well, and just kind of help you bond as a team. So I want to thank you all for obviously taking your time out. I'm sure you've got very busy days at the moment.
Stuck at home.
But just taking your time out to kind of do this and just educate people and share your experiences. It's been really nice to hear it all. And it's been really refreshing to hear different things and different experiences as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
No problem at all. Thank you for that. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.